The world's main exporters of crude oil are set to meet on Friday in Vienna to decide whether or not to increase output. Here to talk about the potential impact on the U.S. is Wright, the CEO of Liberty Oilfield Services. Welcome to you.
Glad to be here.
The U.S., the Permian Basin produces as much oil basically as Iran or Iraq these days, right? So,
it does indeed.
OPEC is still important. It's shown it can still move the oil price. How important is Friday's meeting?
Well, it matters in that the only spare capacity in the world resides in OPEC. Spare a little bit in Russia, but everybody else, in our businesses, we're all producing all the oil we have available to produce right now.
Yeah. So and you guys operate in the Permian and in North Dakota and a few other places, right?
Yes.
So when you're saying we're pumping as much as we can, does that really mean that, you've done all the exploration, you're at max capacity now, and if the oil price went up or you wanted to, you're running full on right now?
No, well, the shale revolution, every time you drill a new well, you're adding production. So the rate of new production being put on is tied to the rig count. So no, it absolutely could go up. But there's no wells that are in reserve, that are choked back. Saudi Arabia has existing oil wells. They just open a tap and oil comes on in a day. For us, it's a few-month lag to get new rigs up and new wells online.
Yeah, and then what about transporting it? As I understand, there's a lot of oil trading at a discount in the U.S. because it's just sitting there and it can't really get to where it needs to go.
Exactly. Shale revolution, a little bit victim of its own success. The production in the Permian's grown even faster than the infrastructure had catch up. So there'll be a little constraint in Permian oil getting out for the next 12 or 15 months. It'll still grow, but not as fast as it naturally would grow.
So the WTI benchmark price is around $66 a barrel right now. What are your expectations for this meeting? Are they going to say, okay, you can produce a little bit more, push the price down, or vice versa? What do you think is going to happen there?
I don't know. I think the worry is that if they don't increase production, the oil market might get too tight and oil prices might go up a lot. I think Saudi Arabia or long-term holders of oil reserves worry about that.
Are we that tight now, do you think? That demand will keep growing? And like you said, if it takes the U.S. producers a couple of months to bring supply online, that the world needs more crude oil now?
Today, the market's about right in the middle for days of supply and storage, 25 days versus 33 when the market was super loose or 17 when it's crazy tight. The interesting thing, Kelly, is that most of the OPEC producers aren't even producing at their agreed limit because they can't. So you have this weird dynamics where Saudi Arabia could increase oil, Kuwait and UAE a little bit, Russia a little bit, but Venezuela and Nigeria and Libya are way below their agreed quotas because they can't produce any more than they are.
All right, so last question. If they go ahead and say this weekend that, yes, we're going to put more oil out there into the market, what do you think the price does? So it's at 66 now. Does it drop below 60 then? How much relief might there be?
I think if they add 500,000 barrels of oil, that's probably what the market expects. Oil stays where it is. If they add 1.5 million that Russia requested, oil probably goes to the high 50s. If they don't add anything, oil maybe goes back to 70.
Well, and gas prices would follow suit very quickly.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.